Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lena. Today we're talking about how to relieve stress. So if you are dealing with extra stress right now due to work or family life or whatever it is, I want to give you a few tricks that I use to help lower my stress. Am I successful all the time at being calm and collected? Absolutely not. I need to use these tricks more often, but when I do actually do these things, it definitely helps me remain more level-headed. So perhaps that would be useful to you also. I am not a counselor or a therapist or anything like that. These are just some of the things that I do when I'm stressed. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Glad you found me. On this channel, I make videos simplifying home and money. If that's something that you need more of in your life, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, comment down below, what are your secret hacks for relieving stress? I'd love to pick up a few new ones and hear how you guys deal with stress. My go-to way of dealing with stress is to run away and forget about it. Just kidding. That's not actually a very good way to deal with stress, but that might be my go-to. Okay, my first productive way of dealing with stress is to face it head on. Whatever is going on, whatever disagreement is going on, whatever is ticking you off, and I find it helpful to face it that day mostly. Of course, there is a little bit of a cool down period where I don't have flames coming out of my head, but I want to face my problems as soon as possible so I can get through them and move on with my life. So maybe I need to cry about it, maybe I need to talk to someone, maybe I need to have a confrontation with somebody, whatever it is, I want to face it as soon as possible so we can move on and continue with nice life. I'm not letting it fester, I'm just getting it out there. So perhaps I am having a disagreement with my husband, and in a way this can make it a little bit more fair for us because he's had the same amount of prep time as I have. But if you give me a week, I can come up with a really solid argument. But if I deal with it now, I am not catching him off guard with my 5-point presentation of why it shouldn't be done that way. It means we both have the same amount of prep time for this argument and we can just move through it. Okay, my next strategy is to have the feelings now. I kind of talked about this a little bit in the first one, but this is kind of the same idea. This is kind of another version of facing it now. So this means I'm not pretending my feelings aren't hurt. I'm not pretending that I'm not sad. I am having all of those feelings now, and I'm not waiting for later. Of course, there's a balance to having your feelings all in the moment, because of course there's appropriate places and times to have your feelings. So maybe when you're at work, it's not the best time to be working through some of your issues, but I just mean that we want to have feelings now as opposed to in 20 years when we have to deal with them in counseling. And I can definitely be dramatic with my feelings, for better or for worse, but I kind of try to remind my husband that I'm just going to have my feelings now and I'm going to get over it faster and we're going to move on with this. And I know it's dramatic now, but we will get over this and I will feel differently about this, but this is what's happening now. My next trick is to set boundaries with things that stress you out. So everyone has their own personal stressors. For me, I kind of enjoy reading the news and figuring out what the crazy thing is happening today. But for some of my friends, that totally stresses them out to read about news. So they have boundaries about when they're gonna read news. They have their one day a week they're gonna read news or whatever it is so that they can not be stressed out all the time. But it's not the same for everyone. I can't tell you what your stressors are, but be looking for them and seeing how you can set some boundaries around them so that you don't always have to be interacting with them. So maybe something that really stresses you out is Facebook. So you can use one of those apps. It's called Stay Focused. That's one I've used. And you can set up when you can and can't be on your Facebook app. So it can prevent you from being on Facebook externally, so you don't actually have to control yourself. The phone will control you, and that can really help you stay away from Facebook if Facebook is your stressor. If you want to learn a few more strategies about how to spend less time on your phone, if your phone is one of the things that's really stressing you out, go ahead and check out my Lockbox video. In there I talk about digital minimalism and how to use this kitchen timer box to help you stay off your phone, which can definitely help you stay less stressed. Also, on the same lines of Facebook, sometimes there's people that are my friends that just stress me out, or the things that they post stress me out, or they put me in the mood. I just unfollow them. You can just go to the settings. You can still be their friend. You can still check on them once in a while. You can, catch up with them whenever you want, but you don't have to see all their posts if you simply unfollow them. And that really lowers my level of stress. So you're just simply identifying the sorts of things or the people or the interactions that put you under a lot of stress, and you're figuring out, how can I add some boundaries to this, or not have this interaction as often, or avoid that, or whatever it is. So this is part of getting to know yourself and what that's like. When I'm reading a book, especially like a novel or a story, I get totally immersed. And if it's a really depressing, sad book, I will get depressed and sad because I'm just taking on the characters and everything in it. So if I know this about myself and I know I'm in a vulnerable place, I'm like, well, I probably should not read this depressing novel because I'm going to be sad for a couple days while I'm reading it. While I've been pregnant and dealing with the ebbs and flows of all those pregnancy hormones and all those emotions, I'm basically not reading any fiction because it's just too much emotionally for me to handle. I definitely need to work on this one, but whenever I do it, it definitely makes me feel better, and that is spending quiet time alone. When I'm stressed, I feel like everything is going on all at once. Everything is stressful. There's something going on in the house. There's something going on with the kid. There's something going on with the marriage, or whatever it is. It's like every avenue of your life is just feeling totally out of control. And when that happens, it can really help for me to take a step back, take a few deep breaths, and be alone and be quiet so I can process what's going on, because my head is just absolute chaos. When I feel so flustered in my head, it's so hard to come up with solutions or set boundaries or come up with new strategies or whatever it is that needs to be done to improve the situation. I can't even think about it because I'm just so overwhelmed. So if I can get away and be quiet and just have some time to process what's going on, that can be so helpful. So for me, this normally looks like going on a walk alone. That can really help me calm down and think through what's happening and get away from all of the situations that are happening. And some people find it useful to journal. I am not the best at this. I only journal occasionally, but it can definitely be helpful to get your thoughts and feelings out on paper. And then you can look at them and evaluate how you're feeling and decide whether or not that is a way you want to feel, or that's a thought that is valuable to you. I definitely turn to journaling when I am having a super stressful event or a big life change that I really need to work through or get out, or if I'm feeling very angry about someone and it's not going to be beneficial for me to confront them, I might write them an angry little letter in my journal and that helps me process through that. Saying all the things that I would want to say, but I'm not going to be saying because it wouldn't be helpful for our relationship. If this video was useful to you, give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows that it's a good one, and subscribe to my channel if you need more content like this in your life. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.